Love this record.
Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby.
Hi everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Back again with an album review, Twin Shadow, Confess. This is the solo project of frontman and singer-songwriter George Lewis Jr., multi-instrumentalist too. His debut LP, Forget, I reviewed the year it came out pretty positively. An album that on first listen really underwhelmed me a bit, but then I gave it a second chance once I realized that Chris Taylor of Grizzly Bear had produced it and released it on his own label. Because this LP is kind of understated, a very understated approach to new wave pop, but there are all these really subtle elements to it that I think are really nice. Chris Taylor brings some very great color, very subtle colors to a lot of these tracks. A lot of the bass lines are great, very danceable. The drums are really grooving. But in my original review, I acknowledged how quiet this record felt. The production style that I liked was kind of holding this project back from bigger things. And I said that if George ever put out a record with higher quality production and stuck roughly to his same style, he would be a pretty big threat in indie music. The better production I wanted is here, plus this LP right out of the gate is getting a release on 4AD Records. On paper, some great things are occurring. But the impact I wanted from this album is not here, at least on a personal level anyway. I'm really not digging Confess. I'm gonna be blunt, gonna be straight with it. The new wave influence that was on Twin Shadow's last LP, it is here, and it's stronger than ever. The songs and the sounds on this thing reference the past, but are unmistakably new, which is a bit more refreshing than reverb-soaked and tuneless nostalgia. But by kind of coming through with a clearer sound this time around, I feel like inadvertently, George has exposed a few weak links in Twin Shadow's chain. For one, the vocals. On this new record, I feel like now that I'm really kind of hearing George front and center, he doesn't feel like a very captivating frontman. There are tracks on here where he belts and hits some of those highs really well, comes off pretty emotive. The song 5 Seconds is an example. But other tracks on here, he just feels like he's weaving in and out of tune. He's kind of whimpering in a really awkward, very awkward for me, the listener, to kind of sit through it. You Can Call Me On as an example, and the intro to the track When the Movie's Over, I was really sitting there thinking, is he trying to sing? Is this singing? He's singing here? The vocals on this thing can really be a hit or a huge miss, which is kind of sad because I've seen Twin Shadow live at least twice, and I don't really recall them being that huge of an issue. Now, the lyrics on this thing, too, are another issue for me. They're nowhere near as abstract as they were on Forget, and because of that, there's just less mysticism. What I'm talking about are lyrics that are really vague, melodramatic, and shallow references to love and hearts that couldn't really be anything but just insincere. Cliche stuff that sounds like it's been copied and pasted, really transplanted into these songs to kind of give them a semblance of emotion actually being there, but none of it is really tangible. Let me tell you, the heart better be your favorite organ in the human body, because you're gonna hear about it a lot. It's just the kind of stuff that's very palatable and fun and perfect when you're listening to a very popular single from the era of music that this sound actually comes from. In that case, you're kind of hearing the cream of the crop. You're only getting a small dose, and I really have no reason to believe that this album does what the 80s did any better than how the 80s did it. plus the cleaner production this time around has made some of the songs on here feel a little sanitized, which does not spell out good results when it comes to some of the dancier tracks on here, because they really don't have that much momentum. All the songs on here are synth soaked. There's a mixture of real drums and drum machines, very rigid bass lines, and some of the choruses on here do explode beautifully, I'll say. But for the most part, I feel like the songwriting, the production, the instrumentation, it's just kinda meh. It just gets the job done. It's sweet while it's on, but there's no real memorable impact that goes on with this LP. Now, I do see the appeal behind this album if you are into it. Not saying you shouldn't be, but me personally, just not really getting much out of this thing. I'm kind of feeling a strong 4 to a light 5 on this LP. What did you guys think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And what should I review next? Did you have high hopes for this thing after enjoying Twin Shadow's debut LP? Let me know. Anthony Fantano, Twin Shadow, forever.